time to talk about luxury cruising. From suites so sweet to ships elite. Come explore the world in style with me on Luxury Cruising, the podcast.
Hey, it's Krystal here. Before we get started, did you know that there is a way for you to directly support the podcast? Head over to my website, luxurycruising.net, and you can buy me a latte, a glass of champagne, or even a whole bottle of champagne if you want. Leave me a note, and I'll be sure to give you a shout out on the next episode. That's luxurycruising.net. You can also leave me a note or ask a question. Okay, let's get on with the show.
Welcome back to Luxury Cruising. I'm your host, Krystal Sodaitis, and today I've got an interesting podcast for you, I think. We are going to talk about the value of luxury cruising. Now, value and luxury are often not two words that you are going to use at the same time. We don't think about the value of a vacation in the same way that we think about the value of other things, like the value of our house, the value of our car, right? These are either appreciating or depreciating assets. But when it comes time to talking about the value of a vacation, we really think about how much did I actually get for my money? You know, we get the room or the stateroom food, often unlimited amounts of food, entertainment. How do you measure the value there? And so much of luxury is really intangible. It's subjective. It's sort of like the room decor. Is it modern or is it dated? What about the amenities? Somebody might love thermal spa suite passes, and other people would never use it. Same thing with the personal butler. Someone might have the personal butler do everything from unpack to coordinate their breakfast delivery, their morning coffee delivery every day. Someone might not use it at all. But yet, still, I'm going to attempt to describe the value proposition of a luxury cruise. Not an ultra luxury cruise, right? So we're not talking about the top of the line suite on Ritz-Carlton yacht, but maybe entry level luxury. Explore Journeys, Oceania. I hope that by the end of this, you may come to believe that if you go on a luxury cruise, you might get an equal or maybe even greater value, bang for your buck, worth the price of admission, whatever, on that luxury ship compared to a contemporary cruise line. And even a premium cruise line, because as I've talked about on the podcast, often on a premium line, you can get a really good price for a stateroom, especially if you take a longer cruise or if you cruise during non-peak season. So we're going to break down the cost of cruising across a couple of different tiers and a different stateroom categories. How much does it cost at the bottom of the barrel inside stateroom, the oldest ship in that fleet? How much would it cost to be a balcony stateroom, also in an older ship? How much would it cost to have a junior suite, which is kind of like an entry-level suite on a contemporary and premium cruise line? And then we're going to compare those to the cost of one of our luxury lines. I'm going to talk about actual prices, but full disclosure, it was AI that told me what those prices are. I did not go and do a fake booking on all of these cruise lines for all of these different categories. So these are probably averages, which I think is pretty good, because definitely if you cruise the first week of September, it's going to be a lot less expensive than if you cruise on New Year's week. So these are probably averages, which means the prices may be higher, but also they might be lower. We're going to break down the amenities you get, what are the dining options, and what are some of those add-ons, some of those optional add-ons that are not so optional, like a drink package or Wi-Fi. I think that this episode will really help you to understand what you're getting for the cost of your cruise fare. Let's start with the entry point. The most affordable option on an older ship. That's going to be your inside stateroom. No balcony, no window, just the basics. Maybe not even in whatever you consider ideal part of the ship. For these, I specifically asked for prices on the oldest ship in the Carnival, Royal, and MSC lines. Because I feel like that gave me a good range of prices. The Carnival Sunshine is a 30-year-old ship, almost, built in 1996. 7-night cruise in an inside stateroom starts at about $369 per person. On the MSC Armonia, a newer ship built in 2001, same inside cabin, roughly $639 per person. And then coming up at the highest price was Royal Caribbean's Grandeur of the Seas, built in the same year as the Carnival Sunshine, so 1996, but that inside stateroom on average is going to be about $707. And what do you get for that price? Well, obviously you get your room and you get some drinks, but not all. You'll get some water, obviously, but not bottled water, whatever they have flowing from the, tap. Coffee, tea, maybe some lemonade or some other kind of fountainy drinks, like a infused water, but you're not going to get any soda. You're not going to get specialty coffee, so nothing with an espresso, and for sure you're not getting any alcohol. You will have food, but only the free or included options. So that's going to be the main dining room, usually a buffet, and then some grab-and-go stuff, which, truth be told, on Carnival is not bad. Guy's Burgers, Blue Iguana, highly, highly rated in terms of cruise food. On Royal also has some really good pizza, Mexican grab-and-go included in your cruise fare. And of course, like I think I said, you have the main dining room. You have all of your entertainment included. None of these ships are going to have any entertainment that costs extra, like a roller coaster or a ropes course. This is really just down and dirty, traditional cruising. I think Grandeur has a climbing wall, but it doesn't have a surf simulator. None of your shore excursions are going to be included. There's no spa passes, thermal suites. These ships probably don't even have a thermal suite. The activities and shows are going to be there. The shows are not going to be a big production show. You're probably going to have just a showcase with their dancers dancing to some tracks or some, repurposed known songs. You'll usually have a comedian or a magician. Sometimes the comedians and the magicians are pretty good. Like that's kind of hit and miss. But really, that's what you get. You get a really, what I consider a traditional cruise experience. There's not going to be a lot of specialty dining options. The pool might be a little bit smaller. The ship itself is going to be smaller, which for some people might be nice because it's smaller. You can sail out of a smaller port and into smaller ports. So a lot of times these ships will go to Europe and be able to get into some smaller European ports that other larger ships can't get to. Now, you can choose to sail at that base price and not pay a single dollar more except for gratuities. And you can choose to prepay the gratuities. If you don't spend any money at all, you walk off the ship owing $0. If you want to add on, let's say, a drink package, and I definitely recommend that if you're going to add anything on, you purchase it pre-cruise, because before the cruise is going to be less expensive than buying it on the ship. So let's say you want just a soda package. Pre-cruise, that still may run you $10 per person per day. If you want an alcohol drink package, pre-cruise, that's still going to run you $70, $80 per person per day. If there's just two of you, at $80 a day for an alcohol drink package, that's already adding $560 to the base fare of your cruise. Now, what about Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi is probably also going to run you about $25 per day. So over a week, that's another $175 for just one device. If you add a second device, because there are two of you, and I would say you could do one person with two devices, which comes out cheaper than two people with one device each. That's going to be even higher, but not as high as 2 times 25. It might be like 40. Next, what if you want a special meal? One meal at a specialty restaurant could be $50 per person or more. Maybe you add one excursion for $100. You see that all of these extras quickly add up to close to $1,000 more dollars. So your $300, $400, $800 week vacation is now $1,300 to $1,700, $1,800. Okay, and that's an inside stateroom. But that's not apples to apples, really. What about a balcony cabin? These are pretty popular. Actually, on a newer ship, you're going to be more likely to be able to get a balcony cabin. On an older ships just weren't built with that many balconies. It wasn't considered as desirable. So on an older ship, a balcony cabin may at times actually be more expensive than a balcony cabin on a newer ship, only because of cruise lines' dynamic pricing. And their pricing is based on availability. So the fewer balcony cabins there are, the more expensive each balcony is going to be. But still, let's look at those same three ships. Balcony cabins on Carnival Paradise is going to be about $800. MSC Harmonia is going to be about $630. And Grandeur is going to be about $900. So adding, depending on the ship, a couple $100 more by increasing from an inside stateroom to a balcony. So you've got a little natural light. You can go out and get some air. The add-ons are the same. So you're still going to add about $1,000 to whatever that base price was. For those of you that listen to the podcast, a big part of luxury for me is service. And on these ships, again, we're not going to have, 5,000, 6,000 people on these ships. These ships are smaller. So you're probably going to be looking at 2,000 to 3,000 people on the ship, which is nice. But the crew to guest ratio is probably going to be about the same. You are still going to have a cabin attendant or a stateroom attendant who will probably serve you very nicely and still be very invested in you having a wonderful cruise. But what they do is going to be different. The turn down service, especially on older ships, they only clean up your room once a day. As opposed to on a luxury ship, they might come twice a day. They might come around more regularly just to clean up during the day. Eating in the main dining room, the food may be hit or miss, but you could get 7 days of absolutely amazing main dining room food. Your wait staff is going to have many more tables on an older contemporary cruise line ship than on a luxury ship. So that attention, that one-on-one attention is not going to be the same. I don't want to say it's not going to be there, but it's certainly not going to be the same. There are those certain intangibles. Someone always there to ask you if you want to refill your glass, or if you have a glass of water, just refills it without you even needing to ask. So that's something that you can't put a price tag on, but certainly does make a difference. How close can we get on one of these contemporary or premium cruise lines? And what I really wanted to do was compare the cost of like a junior suite. That's what it's called, junior suite, mini suite, on a couple of the different podcasts. Now, some of them are going to give you access to their specialty dining room. Some of them are going to give you access to the thermal suite. If this is something that interests you, you really just need to either do your research, talk to your travel agent about if I'm deciding to move up to this level of stateroom, what actually do I get with it? But I will tell you that none of these come with specialty dining or a drink package or Wi-Fi or excursions. So all of those additional costs, that extra, let's say $1,000, still applies. Now, when we're talking about the Royal Caribbean Junior Suite, on a 7-night cruise, you're looking at around $2,700 to $3,700 per person. That is the most expensive of this group. It's also the only one that includes access to the suite dining room called Coastal Kitchen. Other than that, it's just a big balcony stateroom with a bathtub. Princess Cruise has a club class mini suite, which is going to run you between $1,800 to $2,700 per person. And let's just pause and remember that Princess is considered a premium line. So you're getting a mini suite for less than you would a junior suite on a contemporary line. Again, outlining how sometimes you get even a better price on a premium line. And that Princess mini suite gives you priority dining, maybe not in their dining room, priority reservations. Your staterooms are maybe a better location. Norwegian has club balcony suites that are between $1,300 to $2,000 per person. It's just going to be a larger room or larger bathroom, maybe some early booking perks. You do get free laundry, which I really love, but it's not the Haven. You're not going to get access to the Haven dining room. You don't get the concierge, none of that. And then MSC has junior suites that are going to run $1,200 to $1,800 per person. These do have some of their wellness perks, like the thermal spa access, but you won't have access to the yacht club. So no private dining room, no private area, no snacks in the afternoon, all that sort of stuff. And then Carnival has an ocean suite, which is also in that $1,200 to $1,800 per person range. And again, it's just, a little bit of extra space, but no amenities. So add another 1,000 to all of those. On Royal, that could be, even close to $5,000 per person for a junior suite. So we've covered sort of the contemporary and premium cruise lines, giving you an idea of what kind of entry-level luxury might cost and what you get. Now let's look at entry level on a luxury ship. And we're going to do some older ships like Oceania Regatta. That was built in 1998. It does offer inside staterooms, and those inside staterooms are about $2,000 per person. Explore Journeys, which on Explore One launched in 2023, it has your open terrace suite with a balcony for $3,500 per person. Silversea Silver Cloud, also an older ship, built in 1994. This is an ocean view, so maybe not a balcony, but a window for $4,800. And then Regency's Navigator, built in 1999, also with a window, about $6,000. So you could be saying like, wow, that's a big difference. There are some even entry-level luxury experiences that you can get for less than what's considered a higher tier experience on a contemporary cruise line. But what's the difference other than the non-tangibles? What's the decor? What's the general vibe of the feel? Other than that, on a ship like Silversea and Regent, you'll get a butler. And the butler is different from your stateroom attendant. Your stateroom attendant takes care of the room. Your butler takes care of you. Explorer and Regent, you're going to have luxury bath products. If you have never experienced an actually nice bath product on a cruise ship, you really should. Even on the Royal Caribbean Junior Suite, which is the most expensive of the entry suite level cruises we talked about, their bath products, I think they're called like Salt and Sea or something, are just mediocre. I mean, it's fine, but it's not anything I would even have in my house. But if you're talking about being able to have L'Aquitaine, which, truth be told, Royal Caribbean used to have L'Aquitaine bath products in its junior suites, and it doesn't anymore. Post-COVID, of course, everything changes. To be able to go back to L'Aquitaine or Bulgari, it's a different feeling walking out of the shower or bathtub when you've bathed with one of these luxury bath products. You get 24-hour room service included in your cruise fare. We didn't even talk about the fact that for most of those cruise lines, breakfast, a continental breakfast, so coffee and pastries and maybe some fruit are included. But any other room service is going to be an additional charge. This is all included. Sometimes you can get your meal, your main dining room meal, delivered to your room and set up for you. You are not going to find that on the contemporary cruise line. Wi-Fi, drinks, even gratuities are sometimes included. We know on some of our river ships, and I didn't do the pricing of the river ships here because I really felt like that was just a completely different entity. But we know that on river ships, often the shore excursions are included. Their dining rooms is going to be elevated. The wait staff is going to have fewer tables to wait on. It's not just the main dining room that's included. There's a specialty dining room that's often included for no upcharge. No reservation battles, right? Making sure that you make your reservation on time. You know, that you ask for your dining time, or making sure that you get your reservation in so that you get your ideal seating time. I can tell you that getting onto a Royal Caribbean ship with a junior suite with coastal kitchen access for dinner, if available, means that on day one of the first things I'm doing is I'm going to Coastal Kitchen and I'm making my Coastal Kitchen reservations. Because if there's no table, I'm not eating there. That doesn't happen on a luxury ship. Your reservation is guaranteed. And it's seamless gourmet, sometimes Michelin level dining experience. And like I said, the food and the service in the main dining room is going to be on par or superior to the level of specialty dining on contemporary cruise lines. When I looked at the size of these rooms, the Explorer Journeys room is nearly twice the size of a standard balcony cabin on a contemporary cruise ship. The cabins themselves are going to have more amenities, like a walk-in closet, a nice hairdryer, not just, whatever they got in bulk. Sometimes you've got some champagne waiting for you, those beautiful heated floors in the bathroom. The bathrooms are going to be bigger. You're going to have a bigger shower, even if you're on Oceania, which their room size are about the same size as a contemporary cruise line. You know that the small touches are going to be superior. Now that we've talked about the entry level to a luxury cruise line, I'm going to talk about the highest level suite on a contemporary cruise line, not a junior suite, but what's the maximum and what are you going to get? Well, if you want the Grand Vista Suite on the Carnival Paradise, it's about 410 square feet, and you get a balcony. It's about $2,500. So not inexpensive, but around that same price as Oceania. MSC Harmonia has the Deluxe Aria suite. It's around 200 square feet. The suite itself is about 200 square feet. Definitely much more affordable, and it's about $1,900. And then on Royal Caribbean's Grandeur of the Seas, you can have the Royal Suite, which is huge. It's about 1,300 square feet. It's got all the bells and whistles, a larger bathroom, a tub, concierge access. You're not going to have coastal kitchen because there's no coastal kitchen on those ships, but you will have concierge access and access to the concierge suite. That's going to run you $4,200, more than an entry level on a luxury cruise line. But again, none of these have a butler. Concierge is very different from a butler. They can make some reservations for you. They can answer questions, help coordinate shore excursions, but they're not going to bring you, coffee to your room and make sure that, you have turn down service or ask you anything special. Obviously, no drink package, no Wi-Fi. So let's sum it all up, break it down. Carnival, inside cabin, drink package, Wi-Fi, excursions, you're looking at about $1,400. Royal Caribbean, maybe you move to a balcony cabin, $900. But with, again, all of your add-ons, that's going to be closer to $2,000. So we're already at the price of the entry level to Oceania. Still in Oceania, you can actually get a terrace suite for about $3,500. So while if you really love MSC, it's not going to compare the price to a suite on MSC, but you are getting up to a Royal Caribbean suite price, if not under that. Luxury cruising, it costs more up front, and definitely for your base fare, it's going to be more, but it delivers far more value, especially when you think about what's included. When you're thinking about which cruise to book, and price is a big factor, here are just a few things I want you to consider. First is a good travel advisor will always help you. Trust me, if you call or text your travel advisor and you tell them you want to book an Oceania or Silversea's cruise, they're going to call you back real quick. Know what's included when you get that price. Are drinks included? Wi-Fi, excursions? When you're looking at the price, consider the ship's age. Older ships are going to offer lower prices, but also they may have fewer amenities in terms of maybe fewer restaurants, fewer bars, but they're still going to offer a really good trip. The newer ships are going to deliver an elevated design, tech, maybe a nicer spa or gym. And we didn't even go into comparing the cost of booking Carnival, MSC's, or Royal's newest ships. That is really going to run you significantly higher, as high as $1,000 to $2,000 per person for an inside stateroom baseline. I can't emphasize enough how important dining is. Some people say this is the most important drivers when it comes to choosing a cruise line. What does that cruise line offer in terms of dining options? Luxury lines offer gourmet dining with no upcharges. Specialty dining on a contemporary cruise line could cost you $50, $60 per specialty meal. And I will tell you that the service and the food probably doesn't compare. All the other nice perks, Wi-Fi, wellness is going to be elevated when it comes to a luxury line. So really, don't just look at the price. Look at the experience. Look at the value that you get with the experience. And also, sometimes the price is less. The base price is less, especially when you consider what's included and what's not included. Luxury cruising isn't just about marble bathrooms and champagne. It's about space and ease and service. It's about ocean views and curated meals, knowing that you've paid for it all up front. And if you're not ready for total luxury yet, start with a balcony. Upgrade your dining. Add a spa pass. build the experience you want one perk at a time, and then realize what the actual price is you're paying. Because cruising isn't just another vacation. It's a way to really relax and unwind. And I really hope that this episode has helped you rethink about luxury cruising to make you consider like, maybe I can afford a luxury cruise. And if you do, remember, I have a quiz that I will link in the show notes to help you find your next luxury cruise. And if you do decide to go on a cruise, please email me at luxurycruisingpodcast@gmail.com with your cruise questions, stories, wish list itineraries. If you do go on a luxury cruise, I would love to have you on the podcast to talk about it. Don't forget to subscribe. And next week, I'm really excited. We're going to dive into inaugural cruises. And until then, I wish you safe and luxurious cruising.
Hey, before you go, if you're enjoying this content, I would so appreciate a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to this podcast. If you'd like to be on the show, there's a link to a form in the show notes, or you can email me at luxurycruisingpodcast@gmail.com. That's luxurycruisingpodcast@gmail.com. I hope to hear from you soon.